What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with the overall market and some very, very important levels to be watched for on Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to break down what's going on with the news affecting the markets and some very important things to know as we approach the open for today. But before I break anything down, all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends in just 8 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market as we have some very interesting information to discuss. Tesla's a little bit green in the pre-market as of right now, barely holding its support. And we're going to be watching some interesting formations as we have a lot of inverse head and shoulders potentially forming on SPY, Nvda, and many different tickers. So I will talk about those in just a few minutes. Now let's first talk about the data and just the news before I talk about the charts in just a few. So we had the housing data come out. Housing starts were a little bit weaker than expected. Building permits were once again they were actually a little bit up, but besides that, the housing starts being a little bit weak. It's still showing some contraction in the housing market. It's not really affecting the market too much as the market is quite flat. We can see right here, we're feeling flat for the futures. Not a whole lot is going on as we're getting closer to the FOMC meeting, which is going to be tomorrow with Jerome Powell speaking. So that's going to be very telling for how the market ends up moving. It is strike season. We have the UAW still going on. This is very, very important because it's affecting some larger businesses. And the Labor Department reported that in August, we saw an equivalent of about 4.1 million labor days lost. That is like a very, very large stoppage. And these people will stand up for what they believe in. They have my respect for that. But once again, this will still have a big effect on massive companies such as like Ford and GM. So it's worth noting. There are some surveys suggesting that Americans may be spending less when it comes to their spending for the holiday season this year. So that in turn could have a big effect on companies. Apple has the iPhone 15, is doing very well for it. They absolutely crushed it yesterday with the pre-orders. They went up like crazy. And with the new features coming out, there are people who are very excited about it with the new iOS 17 coming out. And then Instacart, excuse me, this ended up IPOing not too long ago. So interesting stuff have been going on. Now the real question is, how on earth will the market move? How is Tesla going to be looking? How on earth are we looking for the future? So in my opinion, we have the 4-hour 50 EMA acting as a pivotal support for Tesla. If Tesla holds this has the potential to push up towards this 270 area. If Tesla rejects, and we break below the 50 EMA, we could see Tesla sink towards 262, then potentially even like 260, 257 and lower levels like that. As of right now, it's trying to hold up so far. I think there's a good chance it's going to attempt to try to rebound as long as there's no bad news. So just know if Tesla breaks below the 50 EMA, the yellow line right here on the 4-hour time frame, that's going to be a bearish signal. It's going to start sinking a lot lower if we get a break and hold below that. If we manage to bounce off of it temporarily, then we could see like 270 being retested before we do sink lower in the future, possibly. Right now, I'm leaning a little bit more bullish. I think I'm a tiny bit more bullish. I'm in the middle, but a little bit more in that direction. I know the news may affect Tesla that comes out very soon, so that could always change. But just know that the reason why I'm saying this is because Tesla's holding up so far, and the market is still looking quite decent. Here's the reason why. On the 30 minutes time frame, when we zoom out, you could see SPY is kind of weakening up just a little bit right now, but it's only down like 0.1%, nothing too crazy. But on the 30-minute time frame, I hope you guys could see this. We have a potential inverse head and shoulders on SPY that is developed. So it looks like this. This is important because this could lead to upside as long as we hold our support at 443. If we rebound, we could see it attempt to break out. If we break 444.3, we are going to be bullish. This thing can start pushing towards 445 plus. If we have to get above 444.3 first. If we're bearish, we want to see SPY break below 442, and that can sink it towards 440. Okay, so we're in the middle right now, but there is a potential inverse head and shoulders that's developing. This could lead to upside unless this is a trap. So we just want to be open-minded to anything and just know that there is potential for it to rebound thanks to the inverse head and shoulders. But it could invalidate it if it ends up breaking below 442. So we're going to be watching that level very, very carefully. I hope this is as clear as possible. There is potential for it to rebound thanks to this inverse head and shoulders, which makes me a little bit more optimistic, but no guarantees just yet. We're going to have to wait and see how it ends up holding. Looking at something else such as Apple stock, Apple is kind of flat right now, but we do have a bullish structure as it's holding support, and Apple hasn't made its full move yet. We have a possible cup and handle like formation that's developed on it. Unless Aapl breaks the holds below like 177, then it could start sinking towards 176.5. But as of right now, it's holding up. We're kind of green in the pre-market, and we have this cup and handle like formation, which could push it towards this 180 area. So there's potential for Aapl to start pushing up. We could see one last push to 180, then some like shop up there. And then that could help the market and SPY get that bounce we're talking about. So it all depends on Aapl. We'll see if this inverse head and shoulders on SPY ends up playing out or not. Aapl will play a big role in that. When it comes to the QQQ, it also has an inverse head and shoulders like pattern, but it's looking kind of weak right now. So we'll see if this holds or not. With the inverse head and shoulders, okay, with this potential formation on the QQQ, for us to turn bullish, we need to see this basically bounce very close to this 369 area and start pushing for get above 371.25 to try to test 373. So we want to see a nice bounce off this and a push above the 50 EMA. If we end up breaking down, if we break below 368.75, we're going to invalidate this inverse head and shoulders, and we're going to turn bearish. We're going to see this thing push towards possibly 368 flat and 366. All right, so we're in the middle right now, but just know there is an inverse head and shoulders that is still valid. So it could end up playing out if we get the bounce. So watch it very carefully. We'll see if that ends up playing out or not. For Nvda, we also have the inverse head and shoulders. We want to see it hold above 442. If it manages to do so, 449 is on the table for it to be tested. If it manages to break down and fails to do so, then watch for 435, 430, 427, then 425 as supports. As of right now, the inverse head and shoulders is valid, so there's a possibility it's going to play out, and we could see it try to push towards this, this 448 level as long as it tries to hold. So watch that very carefully on Nvda. This is still another formation that's worth noting. Looking at the VIX also happens to have a head and shoulders on the 30 minutes time frame. If this ends up playing out on the VIX, if the VIX starts sinking because of this, it comes down to 13.8 or so. This could lead to downside for the VIX and upside for the markets, or this could be because of the upside of the markets, if anything. We're going to be watching this very carefully on the VIX. If the VIX breaks below 13.8, it could start sinking towards this imbalance down here, start pushing down to the 13s. 13.5 could come. So we're going to be watching to see if it breaks below 14, then potentially 13.8, and that could be bullish for the markets if that ends up breaking. The dollar ended up hitting 105 and it kind of rejected off of it, so this might cause the dollar to sink, which could help the market bounce as the dollar is looking kind of weak. But for now, the market is sinking just a little bit. We're still technically this inverse head and shoulders is still valid. We'll see if this holds or not. We're getting a little tight right now. So if it breaks, I mean, if this thing starts sinking below 442, we could invalidate it and we could start sinking. If we get the bounce, then it is what it is. So we're going to be watching this carefully. If we invalidate this, then it is what it is. SPY is going to start sinking. But if we try to bounce, we could try to hold this inverse head and shoulders. All right, so that's very important. Aapl is still holding up, so we'll see what happens during open. And with that said, I hope this video was helpful and very, very opening for a lot of people. Thank you for listening, guys. Have a great day. Do what you have to do, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you, and peace out.